let's take the trilogy just as an example. You started that, what, 10, 12 years ago? Now, when you sat down or stood up, I'm not sure
I was
how
about
it
to
is.
say.
Yeah.
No, he's standing
When
down.
it first came into your mind that this is what you wanted to do,
Yeah.
like how far ahead are you thinking? Like when you begin to write, do you know where it's going to go?
No, you think you know where it's going to go. So you're usually wrong. But you do have, if you're writing a murder mystery, it's advisable to know who did it so that you can sprinkle the clues. It's not advisable to get to the end and not tell the reader who did it. I think you'd probably cause a riot. Agatha Christie stirred things up at one point by having the narrator be the murderer, which was breaking an understood rule. But people have done that since. But at least you know, and Poe said this right at the beginning. He said, mystery stories are written backwards, but other kinds of stories are written forwards. And some writers do know where they're going. It's almost like paint by numbers. They have it all mapped out. Some of them draw graphs on the wall. I can't do that because I never liked coloring books.
So what are you doing? Are you sitting down?
I'm sitting down, usually. I think I've decided, now that we've been told that sitting kills you, I think I've decided to do a Hemingway and get a stand-up desk. And I'm plunging in, and usually the moment that I plunge in doesn't end up at the beginning. It usually ends up further down in the narrative, but I have to walk through a door into that world at some point.
But will you write in progression?
Oh, all of these things sound so lovely. If only one could. No, I think it's more like groping around in the dark or playing with mud. You know, it's all play. It's all it's construction. It's trying things out, or it's like a rat running a maze. So you know there's some cheese in there somewhere. You go down here, nope, no cheese, come back, go up, down there, no cheese there, come back. And sometimes you decide that there just isn't any cheese, and that's when you abandon the work. And other times you keep going until you find out that you can, in fact, complete it.
Do you have to be alone?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
No, I mean when you write.
That's what I mean.
You don't have to be alone.
I don't have to be alone. Why is that? Because I've spent quite a lot of my childhood in locations where there was no electricity. So there would be a kerosene lamp, and everybody would sit around it doing their thing. I'm used to being in rooms with other people. In fact, part of my first published novel I wrote at my job because I could do the job in half the day, and then I would roll my novel into the typewriter and type away at it looking very busy and just continue on.
Do you miss the typewriter, or do you still use a typewriter?
I've kept my typewriters in case. Just
in case they were an inspiration?
No, in case the electricity goes off. Okay. So I've kept my electric typewriter in case I want to return to it, but I've also kept a manual typewriter. And there's always the fallback. You know what that is.
The pen.
The pen.
And have you used the pen?
I use the pen constantly anyway for signing books.
Somebody told me you once had, didn't you invent, or somebody invent
you still
an
have to,
automatic signer
absolutely. For you? It's not automatic. That would be the Autopen. It's remote. So it is the beam me up Scotty moment where you create something at one end, it turns into pixels or whatever they are, flows through the ether and materializes in another location. So it's the creation of an original somewhere else. But you still have to do the work. It's not an Autopen.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night and go, my God, that's what I wanted for that, in that book or in that chapter or what I'm writing, I want that, and scribble something
I
down
do
the side of
that,
the bed.
and then I wake up in the morning and it looks incoherent. It's quite frequently happens. But it happens to everybody. None of what I'm telling you is unique to me.
What would surprise me or our viewers about what happens to Margaret Atwood when she's writing, when she's in the full throw of writing?
What would surprise you?
Mm-hmm.
How surprisable are you?
I can be surprised.
I don't know. I don't know what okay, here's the thing that I will tell you, which is felt quite true to me. In Iceland, there's a manuscript library because they're very keen on their literary background with sagas and things, and they've got a whole bunch of manuscripts in there. And these were copied out by monks. And in the margin of one of them, a monk has written, "Writing is boring." And this is why it's so hard to make documentaries about the life of writers, unlike, for instance, the life of ballerinas or pop stars or visual artists, opera singers, actors. With all of those people, there's something to see. With writers, all you get is somebody writing, because the real action is going on in an invisible way. So essentially, there's nothing really surprising that I can tell you, except that I used to have a cat who would help me write by getting up on the keyboard. But that's not surprising. A lot of people have cats who help them write.
Could that cat, write in full sentences, or was
No, I think its main idea was look at me. Stop doing that writing. Look at me.
Have you got anything out there that's not under your name?
Would I tell?
Have you got anything at home that, for one reason or another, you've chosen
Not to
put out
publish.
there?
Absolutely. Why not? Either because it's not finished or because it's not very good. It's not very good, Peter.
But that's not very good by your standards?
No, just by absolute standards.
So Margaret Atwood has written things that are not good?
When I was a younger person, absolutely. Everybody does. That's how you learn. And that's one of the things that these story sharing sites are helpful for. You can learn by doing without feeling really crushed when other people laugh and point.
So these are all pieces that you wrote in your younger days?
Well, some of them are pieces that I wrote in my older days, but they weren't working, so I stopped writing them. Don't give me that look.
Yeah, I'm giving you that look. I'm thinking, boy, we could do something with that.
I don't think so. No, the reason they weren't good was that they were too complex. So either too many characters in the case of one of them, or too many time levels in the case of the other. So too many characters, if you get to page 200 and nobody has actually done anything yet, you know you're in trouble. Or as I say to my friends who are starting their first crime novels, put the dead body right near the front.